Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And so I just want to get something straight about the American dream, because people are thinking that the American dream is still possible. It's possible for people maybe like Elon Musk, a person who comes here with a lot of money and petitions the government to invest in him as he invests in government enterprises. But for the regular person coming to the United States, you are not going to realize the American dream as the American dream started out to be. Let me tell you what the American dream was. The American dream is the belief that anyone, regardless of where they were born or what class they were born into, can attain their own version of success in a society in which upward mobility is possible for everyone. So right there, you know that the American dream is not attainable for everybody from the very beginning. Because if you came here in a slave ship, you could not attain any version of success in society, neither could you obtain upward mobility. So right away, we know that the American dream was not attainable for everybody, but it was attainable for some. To Black Americans, the reason why all of these immigrants keep coming over here talking about hard work is because embedded in the American dream concept is the belief that this American dream could be achieved through sacrifice, risk-taking, and hard work, not by chance or not by handouts. That's the inference. So that's why they keep talking about they work hard, they work hard, they work hard, because that's embedded in the American dream notion. Now remember that the enslaved people worked harder than anybody in America, and they were called lazy even in the slavery days when they were doing the work and white people were sitting on their asses. Let's keep that in mind. So in order for there to be an American dream, there had to be an American nightmare. So let's talk about the American dream, and then we'll talk about the American nightmare. So I repeat, the American dream was that anybody could come to the United States of America from anywhere in the world, buy land, build a beautiful home, raise a family, educate your children, and gain some type of financial success and security. That you can live your best life here in the United States of America. You have freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom of movement. You can do what you want to do and be who you want to be in the United States of America. You can truly live your best life in the United States of America. But the first stipulation is that you needed to be white. That is who the American dream was for. Europeans were the desired immigrants. The Africans who came to the United States in slave ships were not immigrants. They were captives. The American dream was not for them. The second thing is that the American dream was built on conquest. It was not built on people coming over here, working hard, and sacrificing, and loving God, and loving country, and doing what was right. It was built on conquest. It was invasion of a country and the subjugation of a people by force. That is what the American dream was built on. America began with three groups of people. Some would say three races: the indigenous people, the Africans, and the Europeans. Those were the three groups that made up the original America. And this is where the nightmare comes in. When the Europeans came into the Western Hemisphere, whether it was north or south, they did not discover these lands. People were already living here and had been living here for centuries. They had civilizations, they had cultures, they had their own ways of life. History tells us that there were millions of indigenous people in the southern and northern hemispheres. There were different nations that we call tribes, but each had their own way of life. So they came into this hemisphere where people were already living and civilizations were already formed. So the third thing about the American dream is that it is built on the tragedies of two races of people. The first group was the indigenous people. This vast land that we call the United States of America was teeming with the indigenous people. When the European explorers came, they saw all of this great land with these vast resources and the people who were friendly and welcoming. Rather than work with those people, they devised a plan to conquer the people. And I'm not going to go over all of the ways that they used to destroy the indigenous people, but they fought them with guns in wars. And then there were the diseases that they brought with them that wiped out a lot of the indigenous people. The indigenous people fought and fought for their land from the time the Europeans began fighting them up until after the Civil War. But ultimately, the Europeans won. But this American dream is built on land that was taken from another group of people. Now, the second group of people that were sacrificed for the American dream were the Africans that were brought here in slave ships. Shackled, branded, and reduced to less than a human being, the Africans were brought here and forced to work on the plantations, in the cities, wherever labor was needed for 246 years. Free labor, stripped of their humanity, their manhood, their womanhood, their children, their spouses. They sacrificed for this empire. They built the economy through agriculture, farming, various crops, including cotton, sugarcane, tobacco, and rice. They also built these monumental buildings all over the country, not just in the South, but also in the Midwest and the Northeast and also the West. They did the public works labor. They built roads. They dug wells. They built sewage systems, built the railroads up to California. The Chinese built railroads out west, but they did not build railroads in the East or in the South or the Midwest. The enslaved people did that. And they also invented many of the inventions of the United States were done by black people even during the slavery days. This is what the American dream was built on. Now, the American dream was built for the Europeans. European people were able to come into the United States and get free land. Then they got free labor from the enslaved people. Now that is what the American dream really is. When you could come to the United States as a white person and get land that was taken away from the indigenous people and then get free labor from the enslaved people who worked from can to can, sun up to sundown, and all of their money went to the European people. That was when the American dream was real. When Europeans could come to the United States and enjoy the freedom of being white. Free land, free labor, and every opportunity that the country had to offer. That was the American dream. Now, these people coming here now working 3 and 4 jobs with 3 and 4 and 5 degrees and barely making ends meet, living 15 and 20 to a house, that is not the American dream. The American dream, as it was, is gone with the wind, probably never to return to this land. So anyway, I just wanted to give my take on the American dream, because these people who are making these videos about they came here with $5 or $10 or $100 and now they're a zillionaire, these people are most likely lying. Somebody came in my comment section and said that folks been telling this lie for the longest. But you're not living the American dream if you're here hustling, illegal, and doing anything and everything you have to do to stay here. That is not the American dream. Okay, y'all, thank you for listening. What you think about this? Give me a thumbs up and have a good evening.